Here now, Ben Shapiro, editor-in-chief of thedailywire.com, just finished 4 weeks of election specials on Fox News. Ben, good to see you as always. Thanks for being here tonight. You've been looking at this very closely over the past few weeks. Do you think that their fears are justified?
Well, I mean, certainly there's a reason to be afraid. There are some polls that came out in battleground districts showing that Republicans were running basically even with Democrats in an enormous number of battleground districts. Those, of course, would be the districts that were very competitive between President Trump and Hillary Clinton. The map looks to me as though the red areas are getting redder and the blue areas are getting bluer and the purple areas are getting more purple. So what that suggests is that this is not going to be a walk in the park for Democrats the way that Democrats thought it was going to be even a few weeks ago. And I'm not sure that leading into a heavily contested midterm election, you want your going away message to be, we don't like due process with Justice Kavanaugh, and also we're not really sort of Native American with Elizabeth Warren. Those don't seem like two great takeaway messages.
You know, it's also interesting to me that they are very fired up about the Electoral College and about the fact that every state gets to send 2 senators to the United States Senate. And that tells me that they're worried that, you know, as they look forward in history, it doesn't look good for them, the composition of the country.
Well, certainly not in the Senate and also in the Electoral College, because, again, states are slightly outweighing population centers in the Electoral College. Democrats, it was very funny. After 2016, we kept hearing over and over from Democrats who thought Hillary was going to win that President Trump needed to accept the results of the election. So far, we have heard from Democrats since 2016 that we should change the constituency of the Senate, abolish the Supreme Court, abolish the Electoral College, and abolish ICE. So I get the feeling that acceptance isn't in the cards anytime soon here.
All right. Well, you know, Hillary Clinton is obviously spending a lot of time back in the limelight again, which is raising questions about whether or not she's potentially even considering running again. There was one op-ed that was arguing that she might, you know, that 3 times might be the charm for Hillary Clinton. She also, you know, is getting probably more attention than some Democrats would like at this juncture in the election with comments like this. Let's watch this.
In retrospect, do you think Bill should have resigned in the wake of the Monica Lewinsky scandal?
Absolutely not.
It wasn't an abuse of power?
No.
There are people who look at the incidents of the 90s and they say a president of the United States cannot have a consensual relationship with an intern. The power imbalance is too great.
Who was an adult.
She was an adult. She didn't seem to like that line of questioning, and I can't say I really blame her. It's pretty uncomfortable. She was an adult, is her argument for the pre-Me Too experience of Bill Clinton.
Well, I definitely am enjoying watching the goalposts move at light speed around the field, thanks to Democrats deciding that consent does have power relationships attached, or it doesn't have power relationships attached. Perjury is sometimes good, sometimes fibbing about sex is bad. It seems to depend on the day, and mostly it depends on whom they are defending. So Hillary Clinton making life a nightmare once again for her Democratic colleagues who must be wishing at this point that they could somehow wish her into the cornfield.
All right. I do want to get your thought on this because it just broke tonight. This is Michael Avenatti will now have to pay President Donald Trump's legal fees for the Stormy Daniels case, which just fell apart. Here's the quote from President Trump's attorney on this. He says, "No amount of spin or commentary by Stormy Daniels or her lawyer, Mr. Avenatti, can truthfully characterize today's ruling in any way other than total victory for President Trump and total defeat for Stormy Daniels." Rough couple of weeks for Michael Avenatti, Ben.
Well, Michael Avenatti, who was my entertaining frontrunner for 2020, I was really looking forward to Michael Avenatti making a play in the Democratic primaries. I have to say that at this point, Michael Avenatti is as much of a good lawyer as Elizabeth Warren is a Native American.
I mean, he was campaigning as early as this weekend in South Carolina. It will be interesting to see. And, you know, you did call for it, I think, on this show when he first got on the scene, saying that you really hoped he would run for president, Ben.
I did, and I still do, because this is highly, highly entertaining stuff. But again, he has won 1,024th of a decent lawyer, because this was not a good case to bring in the first place. And now he's been humiliated a couple of times in 3 weeks.
20 seconds, but do you think that the Harvard case will overturn affirmative action?
You know, I would like to see it do so. But again, Harvard is a private institution, not a public institution. At the very least, Harvard is wildly hypocritical for talking about diversity while banning essentially Asian students.
Ben Shapiro, always a pleasure. Great to see you, Ben. Thanks a lot.